So, two things I want to talk about today. It's the February weigh-in. The spreadsheet has been printed, folks. But I also want to talk to you about something I don't think I have seen any other channel talk about. And that's my particular view on things I count as a success and things that I don't count at all. And you'll see that reflected in the weights of food stuff that I gather as the months go on. Okay, let's have a go. G'day folks, Andy here from McDowell Manor. So that little aquaponics bed you can see my Rosie attacking there needs to be repaired. And as the first step, Rosie's cutting all that mint off, and essentially we're going to waste it. Now I'm going to throw a bit in with the chooks because it keeps mites and stuff away, but most of it will be composted. Now that sort of stuff I don't count as produce. The same as my lemongrass leaves and vetiver grass leaves. I actually use all of that for mulch, but I don't count it as produce because I'm not eating it. I don't do bulk crops, crop harvests, I guess is my point. What I do is as things are ripe, I'll take them. I'll use things when I need them on the whole. Otherwise they either stay on the plant or in the ground. If I use them, I'll count them then. If they go into compost, I don't bother to count them. I don't think that's on. I want to try and make that point a bit clearer. Okay, you ready? I've had to think about this now, and I reckon I've put a good way of saying it. In my view, there's three sorts of produce. There's the stuff like these lettuces that you will pick as you eat them. I don't try to preserve lettuces, makes no sense. There's stuff like these chilies, which all tend to come in at once, and I'll pick a whole batch of them when they're ripe, and I'll preserve them. I can either do that by drying them, drying them inside on the kitchen bench. I can dehydrate them in the dehydrator and then turn them into powder, which is what I do. Okie dokie. Now there's a third lot of produce, such as the lemongrass, and I suspect a lot of people think of that as waste. It's not waste. So if I cut a whole lot of leaves off and use it as mulch, yeah, well, and you can see there's a perfect example. Okay, so I didn't eat it. I didn't preserve it. Well, what I use is the stalks, mostly. But anyway, that's an aside. That's not waste, folks. That's a perfectly legitimate way of using product. And in fact, over here, because it's so stinking hot, if I don't mulch well, the beds dry out and everything dies. So your waste might not be waste. And I spent a lot of time, I'll talk for myself, I spent a lot of time feeling bad about that. Oh, look at that, all that stuff goes to waste. Oh, I could have used it in fizzy drinks to flavour it. And I do some of that. But don't beat yourself up if you put it to a perfectly good use. Compost is another perfectly good use of unwanted organic material. So hopefully putting it that way might make the point a little clearer for you and what the whole purpose of that gardening tip for beginners particularly is all about. I don't eat those flowers. They're not there to be eaten. They're there to attract insects. It's for my bees. For example, this brow bean's on its way out. It's been reflected in my crops that I eat because I pick them as I eat them. The ones on there now, they're allowed to go to seed. So they're going to dry out and they'll give me seed for the next crop. Yeah, okay, I don't count it as an actual produce win, but it certainly is because that saves me a fortune. I don't have to go and buy seeds. Bloody prickly thing here. That's an Australian finger lime, and trust me, boy is it prickly. It produces a little lime called a caviar lime because it's sort of little balls that you squeeze out. And I'm very happy to announce my Rosie just found we are getting our first ever finger limes. Now there's only 4 or 5 on the bush, but I'll take that. Oh look, see there's 3 littlies in there. How excitement is that? Good on you, Rosie. I'm sitting out here in the al fresco dining area. You can see we have to cover our furniture. The sun just kills it. No matter what it's made of, wood, painted wood, metal like mine, the sun will kill it stony dead pretty quick, folks. But anyway, so I'm only here really to talk about SHEDWARS weights now. And overall, I'm up about a quarter on what I was in January for February. That's pretty good going. And let's talk about what accounts for that increase. It's interesting because in terms of animal products, I'm actually, there's the kumquats, I'm actually down a kilo. Now that's mostly accounted for by a few things. I didn't process any real animal meat, or there was no honey, so that dropped it a bit. The other thing that dropped it a bit was there's only 28 days in February, so there's less eggs. On the very positive side, I went up 2+ kilos in veggies and salad, and another 2+ kilos in fruit, which is just wonderful. Mostly accounted for the fact that a lemonade crop came in, so there was over 4.5 kilos of lemonade. And the Tromboncinos finally came in, so there was over 3.5 kilos of Tromboncino zucchini harvested in February. So that's about what's happening. A little bit less. Herbs are down, but given the weight of herbs, they're only down by 0.4 of a kilo, and that's mostly because there's less chili. Okay, so that's it for me for the month of February in the SHEDWARS competition. Still pretty happy when you're up about 20 kilos, slightly less. You're doing pretty well in my view. I'll put the spreadsheet proper with no mistakes now up on the comments below. That way you can see exactly what's coming in and what's not coming in. Otherwise, we've had a little bit of rain late in the month. Things are growing like growing things, so I'm pretty damn happy about that. And hopefully you all are enjoying the bounties of your patches. Hooroo!